All right, Pouring Nation, today we are going to review the Gloss Pouring Medium from US Art Supply. Now, I did do a review. This was part of my 11 Pouring Medium review, which I will link in the description above. So this pouring medium is very liquidy, a lot more liquidy than some of the other ones that you see. You can kind of see that in the bottle. And it is very, very sticky. Even after washing my hands, I have it clicked here. I don't like to wear gloves. A lot of people do like to wear gloves. This is one that I almost would recommend you wear gloves at. So this pouring medium, a couple of the tests that I do with pouring mediums is I pour just the pouring medium all by itself. And as you can see, this is very clear. It's actually quite thick and quite strong. So in that regard, these guys get a great rating for the US Art Supply pouring medium. One of the things that I didn't like about it is when I was mixing, it had a hard time mixing, and I'm going to show you that here. I have my red, and I have 10 grams of pouring medium and 10 grams of red Arteza paint. The color, exact color is, sorry, I got to check here, crimson red. So when I was, see when you're mixing there, see how it kind of breaks up and makes the little spots? It does that with some colors, not with others. And I really didn't like that about this pouring medium. It took a long time to get these little dots integrated, which was really hard and annoying. But if you do quite a bit of heavy mixing, it does integrate after a while. Because this Arteza paint is so pigmented, I've on these two, I got up to 4 parts pouring medium to 1 part paint on my gold and black. So I'm going to add, with this pouring medium, you definitely want to add little by little. So I add 10 equal parts, got it mixed up really good, and then I'm going to add another 20 to 30 grams of pouring medium, check the consistency, and maybe a little bit of water. So you can see here, even with the new pouring medium, it's really lumpy. And I don't get this with a lot of other pouring mediums. A couple minutes of good vigorous stirring. Unfortunately, that allows air bubbles to get in, but a couple minutes of good vigorous stirring. And another odd thing about this pouring medium is it goes from very thick, you can see that kind of glooping in, very thick to very thin really quickly. The consistency that I have is much different than other pouring mediums that I've dealt with before. So you need to be very careful about getting the right consistency. It's a little bit more difficult with this pouring medium. So that is a little bit too thick. So first you can see kind of how liquidy this is. If I go this way. Add a little bit more of that, and I know I'm going to need a little bit more water, so I'm just going to put a tiny bit in here. So the consistency that I'm looking for that I normally get is it drips off and makes a slight mound and goes away. With this pouring medium, I never get that consistency. With this pouring medium, it almost hits and lays flat, and then that's kind of the consistency that I'm looking for. So if you work with this a lot, it probably wouldn't bother you as much, but for me, working with other pouring mediums and then coming to this, it was really frustrating to have a consistency that was so much different. So that's about right there. Just really quickly, the price on this is about, for a 16-ounce bottle, it's about 87 cents an ounce. For a 32-ounce bottle, it's about 75 cents an ounce. This is a 16-ounce bottle that I purchased. And so it's, compared to the other pouring mediums, it's middle-of-the-road expensive. Not quite in the middle, a little bit more expensive than the middle of the road. The cheapest ones were 17 cents a ounce, or 12 to to 17 cents an ounce. The more expensive ones were like $1, $1.05, $1.10 an ounce. So we're gonna do let me remove my little test piece here. We're gonna do a tree ring pour. We're gonna do a opposite tree ring pour, actually. So we're just gonna layer these paints in here. And this is a 8x10 canvas, so that's 80 square inches. If you include the sides, 98 square inches. Divide that by 25, and that's a good rough estimate of how much paint you need for this canvas. So in this case, I need about 4 ounces. Each of these little cups I have are 3-ounce cups. I filled them about 2/3 of the way. So sorry about that. My memory card filled up. I didn't realize. So I've layered these paints, as you can see there, and we're going to do a reverse tree ring pour, which means we're going to pour outside and then slowly move inside. And then in here we're going to continue the tree ring on. So the colors with this pouring medium actually are quite vibrant. I was actually really impressed with the colors that are showing up here. Again, most of my problems with this pouring medium was how odd the consistency and texture is compared to other pouring mediums. So it's hard to get a handle on exactly what you're trying to get done. I did just mix all these up, so I should have some bubbles. This pouring medium also doesn't create bubbles by itself, so if you want good, vibrant, solid colors, as you can see there, it does a really good job of that. So we're just gonna, I know I have enough paint, so we're gonna go to the sides, come back to the middle. Now the reason I like to do a reverse tree ring pour is the first pour out of a tree ring pour, the first bit of paint that comes out, usually is too much of one color. And so if I put that on the outside and then I do my tree ring pour on the inside, the tree ring pour has some room to keep its body on the inside. Another thing about this pouring medium is it actually dries the fastest of any of the other pouring mediums. This, when I poured this last time, it was about 1 day, and it was dry, not cured yet, but dry to the touch, the whole thing. All right, we're back. It's been about 4 days since I did this painting, and as you can see by the shimmer on this, this has a great glossy finish. That is one really high point about this pouring medium. Now disregard the little problems that I had when I was putting this away to dry. I touched a few places, but since it's a test piece, it's not a big problem. But this pouring medium is really thick. It's not sticky at all. As you can see, the colors are really beautiful on that. They really stand out quite well. The one thing that I would say about this, because it's nice and thick, because it is very sticky, one thing I would use this for, absolutely, is to paint on something like a vase. Because this would be the perfect thing to paint on. And I think I'm going to do another video and paint on this very vase later. But because of the cost, because it's so different in consistency than everything else, this is one of the pouring mediums that's kind of lower down on my list of the 11 pouring medium roundup that I did, which I'll link again in the description below and up top. So I recommend you check that out next to see which pouring mediums I recommend for beginners and for pouring artists that have been doing it for a while. So again, This was the gloss pouring medium from US Art Supply. Good pouring medium if you've got some time to experiment and some patience. Otherwise, there are better pouring mediums, and I would recommend those in place of this.